Good afternoon and welcome to our Wednesday show, Jour du Galop, Inside News. Myself and Shahil probably just going to touch a little bit on Saturday. We've got a lot of training to get through, so we won't talk too much about Saturday's racing. But our normal Wednesday show, some barrier trials, well, a lot of barrier trials, and then obviously our training shots that we've spotted at the track yesterday morning. Let's start with Saturday, the 4-year-old championship, first leg, won by White River. Very, very impressive win by White River. I suppose an expected win from White River.
Yeah, exactly. Like you said, very impressive. I'm not the best of fields, but the way he won and his strides are pretty impressive. The way that he just quickened it by the top of the straight, that was really impressive. I'm not sure he'll run the Barbie because his targets are the last 2 legs of the 4-year-old championship, but what a horse he is.
Yeah, he's going to, I would imagine the further he goes, the better he's probably going to get. Looking at his South African form, he's not going to have a problem with the next 2 legs. If he is aimed at the, I would imagine that is his sort of mission, is the 4-year-old championship. Manuel Nunes, well, that's 3 from 3 for Rameshwar Gajirana. He must really think that's a great stable to ride for. He's, obviously, a horse like that, the jockey still got to get them home. I thought Manuel Nunes did quite a good job getting White River home, and it was a very, very impressive win. And then the stable end up having 3 winners on the day. Well done to them. And it looks like the stable's hit form at the right time, because now Pierre Stratum's arrived. Finally, it's taken him a long time to get here, but Pierre Stratum is here. We're going to see him in action on Saturday. I'm looking forward to that. Like I said, I think the stable's hit form at the right time, and they're probably going to be the stable to follow in the near future.
Yeah, probably. And as per the goings, they probably are the favorite to win the Trainers' Championship this season. So Rameshwar Gajirana stable expecting a very good season from them.
Yeah, and like I said, nice to see Yashin Imamdi ride a winner. Yashin's a hard worker. I thought he gave Nottinghamshire a very, very good ride, and well done to Yashin as well. Okay, well, that was a feature race on Saturday, and we're going to move over to our 2 to follow. The horse that I really thought was probably the unluckiest loser on the day was Elisheba from the Ricky Maingard stable. And yeah, well, the first thing I noticed, he didn't jump too well. He sort of buckled out of the start, and Daryl Holland probably was a little bit further back than he probably would have liked, purely because of that sort of poor kick that he got. And he travelled near the back of the field, and then sort of got into some traffic problems early in the race. In fact, that was In a Million got in front of him, Euroclodian, which was stopping badly, and he turned into the straight last. But he really ran on well, this horse. And, if you go back to his South African form, he's going to have no problem when he goes over a little bit further. He looks like he's just, well, I actually thought he was actually ready to win on Saturday. I just thought he was a little bit unlucky. Red Line captain managing to hang on. But you have to say, Elisheba was an unlucky loser.
He was very much an unlucky loser. I did fancy him a lot on Saturday. I did make him my value bet, my second value bet actually that day. I just wish that if Daryl had the opportunity to move a little bit earlier, because Redline took the first run obviously on him, and that probably cost him the race. But next time out over 1600 meters again, I'm sure he'll be bang on there. Yeah,
well, that's Elisheba. I think it'll be a tough nut to crack next time. Definitely worth following Elisheba from the Ricky Maingard stable. You wanted to talk about Viking Trail. That's your horse to follow?
Yeah, that's right. He jumped well, and he managed to get on the rails and followed quite nicely until at the 450 meters he had to get out, and Chisty pulled him out for a run. Unfortunately he made contact with Julie Dawn in hindquarters, and in the final stretch when Chisty pulled him out for a run, he took to the outside and he was galloping on very nicely, but unfortunately jockey Chisty lost his whip at the 200 probably he couldn't assist him with much confidence as he would like, but he still managed to finish off really strongly to finish third behind the winner. He's still a colt, so that's really interesting to see what the Mervyn stable do with him, if they're going to geld him or not. But I'm sure Viking Trail is definitely one to follow for the future.
Yeah, I would imagine, these colts in Mauritius, I can't understand why they don't sort of geld him on their way here, at the quarantine station or whatever. But now that he's run, I would imagine that he's not going to be gelded in the near future. So let's see what happens with Viking Trail. Nice to see those colours back in the winner's box as well. Glorious Goodwood. I don't know if that's their first win of the season for Paul in those colours. I'm not sure, but nice to see Paul Fakun pull off a nice win this season with a Glorious Goodwood. Right, that is our 2 to follow. Let's get stuck into the barrier trials. There were 6 yesterday, and I want to well, I'm going to chat about all of them. Well, myself and Shahil are going to chat about all of them because every barrier trial did have some new horses in them. And as you know, I like to sort of look at the South African form and discuss horses that have come from South Africa. Let's talk about the first one. It was in the dark, the first barrier trial. It was pretty dark at 6 o'clock yesterday morning. They had an unbelievable lad. He had the green colours from Sir Doyle, or the green jacket, I beg your pardon. Gat Henshaw from Raj Ramdin with the blue jacket, and Royal Ginger, Simon Jones. Nice to see he's stepping out his new horses. Right, unbelievable lad. Well, he's a 4-year-old son of Torio Dor. Who raced, well, he had 5 wins in Durban, South Africa, and including the KwaZulu-Natal Breeders' Stakes, where he beat a smart field, the likes of Sea Urchin, who's gone on and won 5 races since then. So that form line's pretty good. He looks like a nice horse. That was a very, very impressive gallop as well. Unbelievable lad with those green jackets out in front. Very, very talented horse, and I think he'll do quite well here, especially right up to about a 1400, and he is rated 54. He looks like a decent horse, unbelievable lad. Gat Henshaw from the Raj Ramdin stable. Well, he's a 2-time winner from Durban. He looks like a staying sort, and that's probably why he sort of lacked a little bit of speed. And he also did sort of battle to quicken up. I mean, he couldn't sort of match strides with unbelievable lad, but he does look like he's going to stay. I think he's going to be all right. This horse, he's run behind some nice horses, like Mauritian horses anyway, like Sea King and Elisheba. He's run not far behind horses like that, and I think that because he's bred to stay, we'll probably see the best of him later on in the season. And then Royal Ginger, Simon Jones. Well, he's older than the 2 horses that he galloped with. In fact, he's already a 6-year-old, but he's another horse that's got pretty good form over staying distances. In fact, he's won 3 races. One win was 1800, the other one was over 2000 meters. So just like Gat Henshaw, battled to quicken up, but he is the staying sort. And I wouldn't be surprised if we see Gat Henshaw and Royal Ginger go through the barrier trials again. But in the day, very, very impressive, unbelievable lad from the Sir Doyle yard. I think he's going to be a nice horse this, and let's see how he goes. He's still quite a young horse and probably has got a lot of potential. Right, the second barrier trial, Shahil, I'm going to leave that up to you. You watched that barrier trial. What did you think?
Yeah, with 3 horses, Apollo Star with a green jacket, Alzacara with a red jacket for Gadget Stable, and Perfect Pursuit with a yellow jacket. So Apollo Star, he was trying to do the headband actually, and he jumped well, and he followed the 2 leaders. And at the top of the stretch, Jean Baudotier, who was riding, he pulled him out, and he galloped on nicely to win this trial. He's had 2 career starts in 2019, but unfortunately he was slow to begin last time. Probably that's why he passed his barrier trial yesterday morning. He finished 3 lengths of Captain Span Disele on his last run. If he jumps well, he'll probably do better in this category that he's running. Alzacara is a horse that I'm really looking forward to making his debut. I've already mentioned him twice on Jour du Galop the past few weeks. He's got some excellent South African form because he's run into some top races like the Gauteng Guineas or even the Daily News 2000. He's run against horses like Sir Charge or even Monkshood. He's only a 1-time winner, but he did beat Kings County on that day, and obviously, like I said, he ran those top-class races. He's a versatile sort distance-wise, as he's raced from 1200 meters up to 2000 meters. He does have a lot of pace, and he's a powerful front runner. He does have a lot of work, and now he has this barrier trial, so I'm really looking forward for him to make his debut. And obviously, Perfect Pursuit, a newcomer from the Nagadu yard. He has only 3 career starts for 1 win over the mile. He was a bit green in this trial. He was jumping the crossings near the gate, and he'll probably need some racing experience before he acclimatizes well here.
Yeah, nice to see that Vish Ramana that owned him in South Africa has brought him over. He looks like, well, like Shahil says, probably still a little bit green, but he looks like he's got a nice little future here in Mauritius. Right, the third barrier trial, we had Slightly Scottish, nice name, from the Nagadu stable. He had the yellow jacket. Flying George, Raj Ramdin once again steps out a new horse. And then Consul of War, Pritam Dabi, we have seen him gallop before. In fact, he galloped last week. And, Slightly Scottish, well, he confirmed his good track work, this horse. He's been working pretty well on the sand. That was a nice gallop, a very impressive gallop. And I have to say, he didn't have the most inspiring form after winning his maiden. He won quite early, and then his form hasn't been all that great. And well, nevertheless, there was a pretty good gallop, and maybe he's one of those horses that enjoys Mauritius because, like I said, the sand track work has been pretty impressive, and he followed that up with a nice barrier trial yesterday. So let's keep an eye on Slightly Scottish. Flying George from the Raj Ramdin stable. I know for a fact that Raj sort of likes this horse. He's pinned quite a lot of hopes on this horse, and well, he was placed all his starts before he won his maiden. And then his last run, he ran 4 lengths behind that horse Socrates, which is a decent horse. He's a nice horse back in South Africa. He's still a 3-year-old. He's only rated 32. I think that he could be quite a nice horse for Rajramdin. Let's hope he does well for the stable. And then Consul of War, well, like I said, he galloped last week. This time he galloped with some blinkers. He showed some nice speed. This was Consul of War, and like I said, I think he's better than that 31 rating. He only had a couple of starts in South Africa. I think he's better than his rating suggests, and looks fit and ready. I wouldn't be surprised if we see him run soon, Consul of War, but he also looks like a nice horse. And, generally, some sort of nice horses for the smaller yards there, Rajramdin and Praveen Nagudu. And let's hope that these horses do well, but they look like they're pretty decent horses. Right, the 4th barrier trial, Shahil.
Yeah, with 3 horses again. Respectable Rock from the Sharang stable with a green jacket. Man from Seattle from the Rameshwar Gajadhar stable with a red jacket. And Midnight Messenger with a yellow jacket. So Respectable Rock, he's an interesting horse actually, because he started off his career in KwaZulu-Natal back in South Africa. But then he was moved to Zimbabwe. And in Zimbabwe, he won on debut. His record stands at 1 win, 5 places in 8 starts. So I'm not sure how we will work out that Zimbabwean form. But coming back to the trial, he jumped well and moved up to take the lead. And he galloped on very nicely under Bruno Rees, if I'm not mistaken. Man from Seattle, unfortunately, he got left again in the gates, but he was tried with the blinkers this time out. Once he got into stride, he galloped on strongly, and he finished a close second to Respectable Rock. He definitely has the ability to win races in his class, but the thing is, he has to jump. The big question would be, can Striker make him jump? Probably we'll find out very soon. And Midnight Messenger, he was tried with the blinkers too. He galloped okay without making any big impression. He obviously made his debut in the Duchess, where he got outclassed, and even last time out against Mind Blowing, he couldn't land a big blow. He definitely needs to improve.
Yeah, or a man from Seattle, I have to say, when they start that habit, it's very, very difficult to get them out of it. And it's a pity, really, because he's been a decent horse in his sort of category, and he's obviously better than what he's shown us. But getting left like that, it's always a headache. And it's very, very hard to get them out of that sort of habit. We've seen a couple of horses get into that habit, and really they just don't get out of it. And it's very, very frustrating, I would imagine, for the owners.
What do you think about that Zimbabwean form of Respectable? Have any Zimbabwe horse come here before?
Yes, I have. I remember there was a horse, I think it was called Link Up, Budgajira trainer. He was a decent horse. He won a good couple of races. So, you know, obviously Zimbabwean form, a lot of those horses are South African horses that go up, yeah. But it's hard to sort of draw a line through the form. We'll just have to see. I mean, his gallop was pretty good. I thought his trial was pretty decent. So let's see how Respectable Rock goes. Obviously, there must be a little bit of value buying horses from Zimbabwe. I think you'll probably get them a lot cheaper. So let's see how he goes. Maybe he could sort of start a new trend as far as bringing horses over from Zimbabwe. Right, let's have a look at the, well, it was the 5th barrier trial of the morning, and Captain Gone Wild, Rameshwar Gajadhar. He had the red jacket, Stone Tiger from the Sedol Yard. He had the green, and then Neisius from the Patrick Mervyn stable. He had the blue jacket. Captain Gone Wild, well, Pierre Stradham got his first sort of well, look at the grass track. In fact, he has been in Mauritius before. He's ridden in 2 international days, so he does know the track. But obviously, he's going to just refresh his memory. They really like the Captain Owls, the Rameshwar Gajadhar stable. And, well, this is no exception. He looks like a beautiful big son of Captain Owl. He only had the 1 run back in South Africa. It was a decent 4th behind... well, it wasn't a bad field. I went and had a look. There's been a couple of winners out of that race. Nothing spectacular, but it was only his first run. Big horse, probably needed it. He was owned by Mauritian owner Raymond Chung in South Africa. He's obviously brought the horse over. I see he's a colt as well, and just like a Viking Trail, interesting to see what will go on there, whether or not they're going to geld him before he races. But obviously he's been through the barrier trial now, so they're obviously preparing him. He's a nice horse. He's only rated 26. I think this horse has got a nice future in Mauritius, Captain Gone Wild. We've seen how well these Captain Owls do here in Mauritius. Stone Tiger, well, he's another horse only rated 26 after being placed a few times, but hard to assess his form. He's been very erratic, this horse. He runs a good race and a poor race, good race. Hard to sort of work out his form exactly. To be honest with you, his form line hasn't really impressed me, but well, it hasn't really inspired me. But let's see how he goes here in Mauritius. And then Neisius, well, he's a beautiful bred horse bought from the Mike de Cott stable. He won on his 5th attempt. I managed to watch that race last night when he won, and he just looks like a horse that's going to, so he looks like a late maturer. He took his little bit of time. He's obviously looking for a little bit of further, this horse, but I think he's a nice horse. So I like the way he galloped. I like the way he moved. Lovely action, and well, let's just see what happens as far as Nazak goes, but I think he looks like he's going to be a nice horse in the making. Right, well, that was that barrier trial. 2 horses there really impressed me, was Captain Gone Wild and Nazak. Let's keep an eye on these 2 horses. Right, the 6th and final barrier trial. Shahil, you want to take us through that?
Yeah, again, 3 horses, Master of Spain, a newcomer from the Nagadu stable with a yellow jacket. Friday on My Mind, or repass from the Alain Pedro stable, the green jacket, and Take Off Mode, an unraced horse for Jean-Michel Henry with a blue jacket. Master of Spain is still a maiden in 8 career stud, but he has run some good races against some horses like Nexus, JJ's Dynasty, and even Frank Wright. He jumped well and galloped on really nicely with Brandon Louis. Happy to see him back in. I think he'll be in action this coming Saturday. Yeah. He's by Master of My Fate, and is a beautiful looking animal. I'm sure he'll do very well here, this Master of Spain. Friday on My Mind, he jumped a bit awkwardly actually, but he followed nicely behind Master of Spain, and he moved up to challenge him at the top of the straight, and he galloped on nicely to finish a close second to Master of Spain. He has yet to run his first race here in Mauritius for 2019. I'm sure he'll be a much better horse this season because he seems to have matured over the off-season. And then obviously Take Off Mode, he's an unraced horse. He's a 3-year-old by Visionaire, out of a mare called Plaisance. He was slow to begin and probably will need the experience and some more races to adapt here.
Yeah. I tell you, I can never forget that second of Friday on My Mind to Hullabaloo that day. I thought that was the unluckiest loser I've seen in Mauritius all the years that I've been here. And unfortunately, he didn't follow it up next time out. He got beat. But maybe you're right. Maybe he has sort of matured. And in that sort of division, he's got to win a race, Friday on My Mind. He's especially on that particular run to Hullabaloo last year. Right, well, those were the barrier trials. We've got our training shots. We've got 10 horses we want to talk about. I'll go through 5, and Shahil will do 5. The first horse I want to talk about, as you know, we are 2 to followers. We like to follow up on them. And Patrol Officer, well, he is one of my 2 to follows, and he's made a lot of improvement from his first run this horse, and he looks a lot fitter as well. And although him and Paddington's Luck, they worked together, they didn't really go hard. It looked like a half pace. But he looks well, this horse, Patrol Officer. He really took that race well. I like the way he was striding out. He came off the track. He looked very alert, and I think he's going to be a lot better horse next time he runs. Unfortunately, we won't be seeing him this week because he hasn't been nominated. But I'd like to follow these horses, and I want to sort of keep up as far as Patrol Officer is concerned. Right, Shahil, one of your horses to follow is Hastine. You want to take us through that?
Yeah, Hastine made an eye-catching debut run last time out. He had a pretty tough race actually that day because he finished. He was carried wide throughout the race, and then obviously he finished only half a length behind Waltek. He was finishing off very strongly under Jami Aliosen. This first run has definitely brought him on, and he should be stripped much more fitter next time out. And I think he'll be very hard to beat in his category. Good work alongside Nordic Chant with Stridham on board yesterday morning.
Yeah, I remember when he said he is one of your horses to follow, we both thought, well, this is a perfect horse that's going to suit someone like Pierre Strodham. He has been nominated, if I'm not mistaken. He's not, okay. I don't know, sorry, I've got you. He's not nominated, I beg your pardon. The horse that he worked with, Nordic Chant, he is nominated. So Hastine will probably have to wait a week or two before we see him again. Right, and my next horse was Red Indy. He worked along alongside Gondwana. And here's a horse I've been following with a little bit of, I'll just keep my eye on this horse. He arrived in Mauritius with a rating of 30. He's now dropped down to a 22. That was an excellent run on International Day when he ran behind Good Buddy. I think it was a good third behind Good Buddy, if I'm not mistaken. And in my opinion, he just looks like he's needed his first 2 runs this season. He's cherry ripe, and well, he is nominated in the last race, the 1450 025. Besides that horse, Watch Me Dad, he's in the race. Obviously, he'll probably be the horse to beat, but it isn't the strongest of fields. And besides Watch Me Dad, I think Red Indy definitely will have a chance in that last race as far as I'm concerned. Working well, working alongside Gondwana there, and pretty good work. Definitely horse that we're going to follow on Saturday in the last race. Right, then Springman, Shahil.
A horse that has come with a big reputation this season. He worked well alongside Rebel Alliance. He has been working well for the last couple of weeks actually now, and he has some top class South African form because he's running against the like of Rainbow Bridge, Double Mint, Eyes Wide Open. Obviously he has a preference for those staying races, which will come later on in the season. I think his target would be the Maiden Cup, but I think he's not yet qualified for that. So he'll definitely need to win some races to qualify for that. I see he's been entered in a benchmark of 56 over 1400 meters this week. He'll be carrying on to 56 kgs, so let's see how he goes, Springman.
Yeah, well, he's definitely made improvement from that barrier trial 2 weeks ago. He's really come on a lot from there, and he's got some terrific South African form. Looks like he's going to be a nice horse for the stable. Right, then Rob Roy, he worked alongside Charleston Hero, and well, that was a decent Mauritian debut when he ran in the first leg of the 3L Championship, when he finished behind the ever impressive Rule the Knight. He's come on nicely from that run. To me, he's an out-and-out sprinter. I see he's nominated in a 990 on Saturday, and obviously it's going to be a little bit easier for him this time, and that's sort of in his own division. He worked alongside Charleston Hero. You'll see Charleston Hero had that sort of hood, or the ear covers, and he's also nominated is Charleston Hero. But just have a look when they go past the winning post. This was Rob Roy, just pulls away from Charleston Hero. He's in good form, and I think Rob Roy in that 990, if he sort of reproduces that run of the 3L Championship, he must be a big runner there. And I think Charleston Hero as well. Maybe these ear muffs, if you want to call them. They call them, I actually don't know what it's actually called, but it's like a hood or a cap. Maybe that'll make the difference, because he's been losing his races at the start as well. So let's see how he goes, Charleston Hero. But Rob Roy, he looks like he's in terrific form after that first run, and expecting a big run from him on Saturday. To talk about Blow in the Box?
Yeah, actually we did fancy him a lot last time out, and he had a very tough race, being drawn 9 out of 10 on the 1400 meters on the top weight of 61.5 that day. He traveled throughout the race. Carl Zachner had to make an early move on him, and it still managed to finish third to that newcomer of Shirishtaang stable, Manataran. Was a very impressive winner. If he gets to run in a benchmark of 56 again, he'll be very hard to beat, this Blow in the Box. But I see that he's entered in race 3 in a benchmark of 41 over 1600 meters. Then again, I think he should have a good chance there in this race.
Yeah, he was pretty unlucky last time. Caught wide the whole way, and well, he had no sort of, I mean, that obviously you're doing a lot more extra work than the rest of them, and he only went down about a length, if I remember correctly. So yeah, he's doing well, Blow in the Box. Definitely a horse worth having a look at come Saturday. Right, another horse, Silver Sails. He worked alongside Split the Breeze, and I remember seeing this horse's first run this season, because I followed him last year a little bit, especially when he ran that very good third. Yeah, it was a third behind Crazy Vision, if I remember correctly. And I had a look at his first run this season. He went for a run down the inside fence, and he got absolutely balked there, had absolutely no chance, and that cost him a lot of ground. He got beat 8 lengths at the end of the day by Henry Tudor and Walt Tag, that very close finish. And at the end of the day, I think that he would have finished a lot closer had he got a run, Silver Sails. Absolutely flying on the track yesterday morning. They worked him with blinkers. I don't remember him trialling with blinkers, so it'll be interesting to see if he runs with blinkers. But I went back through all my records, and I couldn't see if he actually has barrier trialed with blinkers. And I see he has had 1 or 2 runs in South Africa with the blinkers, but I can tell you with the blinkers he worked exceptionally well. Very, very impressive work yesterday alongside Split the Breeze. And Silver Sails, probably a nice little value bet coming up, because he'll be probably decent odds. But really working well, and a horse that I'm going to carry on keeping an eye on. Right, Simon Jones, Galterra.
Yeah, we've been trying to find this first winner of Simon Jones since he's been entered for the 3rd week. Galterra obviously finished 8th to Woltag on his first run up this season in a benchmark of 46. He's now dropped points, and he's now rated 41, so that means he can run in a benchmark of 41. He has won a race in that category last year when he beat Blow in the Box, actually. He has put up some very good work yesterday morning with Rea Soulash on board, so let's see how he goes. I'm not sure he's entered this week, but for the coming weeks, let's keep an eye on Galterra.
Okay, yeah, I had a look at his times. It was pretty good times that he put up yesterday morning, and love to see Simon pick up his first win of the season as well. Right, then Table Bay, he worked along this with the Thinker, and I thought we'd just have to probably touch on this Group 2 feature race on Saturday. Some very, very nice horses entered. You've got Baritone, Perovskia, Hard Day's Night. There's some cracking horses, and good first run this season. when he was caught hopelessly wide the whole way. In fact, he turned into the straight at least 7-8 horses wide, and he ended up getting beat 5 lengths. But you have to say that obviously cost him a lot of ground, the way that he raced wide like that. Probably needed that as well, and we saw him win the Barbie, this horse, and we all know that he's a decent horse. And hopefully he pulls a decent draw on Saturday, because I think he's going to be a big contender come Saturday's feature race. And then the Thinker, who worked alongside him, also working pretty well. I mean, he's also entered in the feature race. He's only got he's only carded to carry 55 kilograms. That's if he runs, and he's also doing very well. But Table Bay oozes class. He's a top horse, and obviously you have to respect him on Saturday. All right, and then to finish it up, mind-blowing from the Gilbert Rousset stable.
Yeah, that's right. He has already won 2 races in a row this season.
Yeah, never easy for a horse to win 3 in a row, but he's one of those typical Gilbert Rousset horses that sort of go through the divisions, and he looks like a very nice horse. I like the way he won last time when he beat Afdik, and I agree with you, the blinkers have done the wonders for this horse. Mind-blowing. He is in on Saturday. Yeah, I think he is. Yeah, he's nominated, and I think it's a 3rd race. In fact, quite a tough race, that 3rd race on Saturday. Some nice horses entered in that particular race. Right, talking about Saturday, we do have our Friday show on the mark, where we'll be going through the race card with you. Hopefully we find a couple of winners for you, and well, just hope you have a great day's racing on Saturday. Just remember, if you have a look at the horses that we've started in the training, and then also obviously the barrier trials for the future. All right, thanks very much for joining us. We will catch up with you on Friday. From myself and Shahil, have a great week. Goodbye. Sorry guys, I thought I put my phone on silent. I could have sworn I put it on silent.